Hello model fans, welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Raul, and this week I'm going to show you my completed build of a Pantera here. And it's one I kind of have some fond memories of because I built a couple when I was a teenager in the late 80s when these kits were out, and they're somewhat easy to get. But this is kind of an interesting kit because it's really not accurate for a Pantera. So there's a number of things, but in case you didn't know, Pantera actually is Italian for panther. So it's pretty straightforward. But this particular kit is supposed to be a GTS, which that was kind of like the sport version, the race version, kind of. The GT5 was more of the race car, but the GTS was the sportier one. But couple of things with this one is it's got this funky front spoiler and this wing which none of the real Panteras actually had, so it's really kind of hard to look at this one and figure out what year it is because it's kind of a mismatch hodgepodge of all kinds of stuff. But I always thought it was a neat kit and a fun kit, and it's a quick build kit. There's no engine to it. Matter of fact, I don't know of any Pantera model kits that have engines, and there's a number of them that actually were made. But this is the Testors version, which is pretty much the Guns Sangyo one. It's a motorized kit, but this particular Pantera, like I said, it's got this funky wing. It's got bumpers on it, which are kind of reminiscent of the early style, but it's also got these big marker lights, which are later style, the big wide wheels, the fender flares, and I don't know if any of them actually really had a rocker like this, and then this big wing on the front. But here the front turn signals are kind of like the 71 bumpers, but it's got the small bumpers where 72 and 73 would have a big rubber bumper and the later ones would have a big bumper. So this one's got a lot of mixed matched components with it as far as years go, so it's really not very accurate if you want to do an accurate Pantera. But some of the things, the GTS had the original ones were narrow body, they weren't wide body, these big flares or whatnot, but the GT5s are the ones that had the flares, and this one's got rivets on it, and it's kind of like a molded fiberglass look to it, which the original GT5s were that way with the riveted on fiberglass fender flares. Then later they came out with the Pantera GT5S. Those were the wide body with the steel molded fender flares, which they did come out with a GT5 model kit that's much more accurate to that, with no wing on it. And but this one, I think it's really cool, but it's, you know, like I was saying, it's kind of not really accurate. So there's a lot of different year things. Love the wheels, even though they come molded black and you've got to paint them. But it's a pretty simple kit as far as that goes. And there's a few other things with it, like the interior is actually a mixed match of early and late. It's got the, actually, let's since I'm talking about it, like I said, it's a motorized kit, so there's nothing to it. Here's where the battery goes, right in here. But you pop the front off, and you can see it's meant for the motor. It's got the big gear right there, and the switch would go here. But just real simple interior. Nothing real fancy. Kind of has the early seats, but they're a little bit more upright. They should tilt them back a little bit, but that's the way they were molded. And then here's the dash. It has the later dash, which has one pod with 2 gauges in it. The early dash had 2 separate pods, and the gauges are a little bit farther apart. But that's the early console, so it has the early console and stick. But and the parking brake way over here, which is the way they were, kind of an odd setup. But didn't really do a whole lot of painting this one. This is all actually molded in black, all of this stuff. So I just detail painted the silver and just assembled it and painted it. And like I said, this was a quick build, so I just did it all up. Had some fun painting these wheels. The wheels, if you saw my other video, I had brush painted them. Didn't come out very well. So this time I actually spray painted them silver, and then I clear coated them, put the red in there in the center caps, then hit the lug nuts with the Motolo pen, and then I ended up painting all of the inside the black to black out the spokes. But they came out much nicer that way, because when I was trying to brush paint the gold, it wasn't coming out very good. But and then I spray painted the exhaust and glued those in place. But that's a pretty simple Testors kit. And then of course here's the body with all the windows, and the whole inside's blacked out. Here you can see this one was actually had some body damage. This is old plastic, and it's actually pretty brittle, not very flexible. But it broke pretty good, and I just glued all the windows in, blacked out the whole inside. Like I said, it's kind of a quick build. Didn't do a whole lot to it. Didn't really polish the paint out either. But it's just a fun one for me. And another thing that I did to it is it comes with gold decals, and I had Firebird Designs take the decals, and I scanned them and emailed them to him, and he transferred them into a set of black ones. He also did a set of white for me. I showed them in my previous build and video on this. But so on this one I dressed it out and put those on there, even though that's technically not very accurate either. They would say Pantera GTS 5 or and DeTomaso, or it would say DeTomaso in big letters. I forget which way it was. But I just did this one real quick and fun build. But I hope you like it. It's a fun car. Wish they had made more kits of them, or full detail kits. But it's a great one. And if you saw my early video, I built one right out of the box when they first came out. And matter of fact, zoom this out. There's the Testors kit box, and there's all the stuff on the inside. But I didn't paint my original one. I painted the wheels silver or gold. I did it just like that, and then I just assembled the car. I didn't paint it because it came in this black plastic, and I had a good time with it, and I played with it a lot. It was one I really played with, and just really enjoyed it. But one of my favorite things is I remember drilling a big hole in the back, and I put a model rocket engine in there, and I had launched it down the street a couple of times, and that thing, it went flying and beat up the spoiler and chipped it up and broke the glass, and I remember it ricocheted off the curb, went flying up into the palm trees and bounced around. I had a good old time shooting that one off, so it didn't survive. Matter of fact, the final thing was those model rocket engines, they would backfire a flame into the thing, and it was designed to shoot the parachute out of the front of the model rocket, if you've ever done one of those. But in this particular car's case, it just puffed and you melted the windshield a little bit, set the plastic on fire, and then I had the bright idea, I'll put tissue paper in there, and that'll snuff it out. Well, that's flammable too, so it lit up and melted the whole thing. So it was great, fond memories of destroying that car. So many years later, when I got back into modeling and I was reminiscing about the stuff that you'd find on eBay and everything. I joined eBay in 2001, so I kept an eye, and these would come up every now and then, and I ended up buying one. I've got the receipt for this one from like 2007 or 2009 when I bought it. So that's how long I've been holding on to it. Matter of fact, yeah, September 14th of 2009. So it's been in this box for a long time, and I've got one more of the exact same kit to build, because this one was a broken one, and I picked another one up when I came across it, fairly good price. But they've gotten a little bit pricey now over the last few years. I don't know why, for a curbside kit that is motorized. But once it's assembled and built, it looks really good, sitting on the shelf and everything. And I'm really happy about going with the Sublime Green on this one. It's definitely a Skittles color. Orange is another favorite of mine, but I did my GT5 in orange. So I have an orange one now and this green one. And I don't know what color I'll do another one on. I'm sure one of them will be bright blue, and I'll probably have a yellow one, but I got a couple more. I got a couple of the Fujimi Panteras also that came out in the past 10 years. So I got a few more Panteras to build, but that's a quick build. I'm enjoying it, and I hope you guys are too. And so I appreciate you guys watching and hitting that bell button. And thanks for all your comments and everything. And you guys, you have a wonderful day.